The purpose of this video is to learn very basic watercolor tips on how to apply and control water and paint, and how to work from light to dark colors, and how to build up color layer by layer. So you'll have a jar of water to clean your brushes, and then a little jar for clean water. You can also get some paper towels if you think you might need those. The first thing I want to do is drop some water, a very little water, into each one of these little color pockets. You can do it with a brush, but if you want to use your finger, just dip your finger in the water and drop a drop of water into the paint. Or you can use your brush and do the same thing. This will make the paint a little softer for you to use. You don't have to stab the paint. You don't have to scoop it up. All you're going to do is then now just slide it over the paint. You could erase the lines lightly if you want. I'm just going to erase a few here, but like I said, this is not necessary for this lesson. You can do that. Using watercolor pencils is really nice because once you're painting with water, the watercolor pencil just blends in with what you're doing. So it really would have been helpful, but I forgot, sorry. We're going to learn how to control the water, like I said, and control the paint. That's our purpose for this video. There are two ways to do that. The first way would be to get your brush wet, of course, first. Make sure there's not too much water on the brush. If there's too much, like right here, you have puddles, too much water, so you dab it on the sponge to absorb that water. And then you're simply going to slide. Like I said, we're not going to go like this or scoop up. We're going to slide over the paint. Like I already did this one here. But let's do it on this side now. And then you're going to lay it lightly on the paper. See that puddle? It's probably too much water. I'm going to take some off the brush. Go ahead and just move the paint lightly. We want that paint to be very light. Very light. Just move it. If you cross a line, that's okay. You don't have to stay in between the lines. You can go over the line. But just remember, once you color the lines, the pencil lines, you cannot erase that line anymore. Okay, that's one way to apply the paint to the paper. The other way is, first of all, clean your brush. Get some clean water. Not too much. That's too much. Just dab it a little bit. So we're going to paint one of these squares. Say this one right here. I'm just going to lay the clean water over that square that I want to paint. Now I'm going to introduce the paint. It's a little red, just a little bit of red, and just dab it, and you'll see how it bleeds into that water I laid on the paper. Now we're going to spread the paint by pushing the paint, pulling the paint into that square. It's very light, and that's what you want right now. Very light. Okay, we're going to keep on doing that. You don't want it too dark. Very light. If you have too much water on, if you see a puddle, wipe your brush on the sponge and pick it up with the sponge. The other thing you can do if you want to pick up the water is you can use your Q-tip. It's one of the reasons I included that. Like if I had too much water, say right there, just pick it up with a Q-tip. Or you can just use your brush to pick it up. Let's move that a little bit. Okay, that's it. And do the same thing. Dab the paint. See how it bleeds? That's called a wet on wet style. So we're just going to move the paint with the water very lightly. Very good. That's it. So that makes for very thin layers of paint. And this is important because it will allow the luminosity of the white paper to shine through. And you'll see how nice that looks when we finish. So it doesn't look like much right now, but just wait. It will improve. Some of the things you can do as well is leave some white spots like I did here for the highlights. What I did was, I don't have masking fluid, so I'm not going to use that, but I do have a toothpick, I think, somewhere. And what I did was just make a little groove in the paper like this, all the way around where I wanted the little highlight. And then I went ahead and used the little paint. Oops, it's more water. And sort of painted around it. Oh, it's too much paint. Notice that? So, painted around the little groove. That's kind of helps it keeps it from blending or bleeding into the highlight that you want. That's too dark there, so I'm going to take some of that off. I'm going to lift it up with the brush. There you go. Lift it up with the brush. There. So the same thing I did here. This is a lot lighter, which would have been best. So that kind of helps it, but you know, you can also just draw around the highlight that you want to do. So for example, I can just draw around it like this, and then just color the outer edge so you can keep some highlights. Or maybe you want to add another color there later, like a yellow or whatever it is that you want to add. This has too much water and too much color. So let's go ahead and pick that up. So sometimes I can do that with a toothpick, but you don't have to. You can just draw a lot. Draw around the highlight that you want to add. Okay, so some of the things not to do is to, for example, you know, get like a, let's see, get like a orange and then paint. Way too dark. Okay, and you let that water puddle there, but you can pick it up with the brush. Anyway, and then just right away go into, say, a black. And you want, uh-oh, now you've messed up, right? So you want to pick that black up. So you can pick that up with the brush as well, or the Q-tip. Clean your brush first, of course. So we're going to pick that up. Let it absorb the paint. See, you've already picked it up. And you can just blend the rest. So you can correct mistakes like that. Or if you, so for example, you had black on your brush and then you dip it into the orange. Now you've got a black and orange. And if you put it somewhere, it's going to be, the color's going to be all muddy. See how that didn't work out at all? So you don't want to mix your colors like that. Let me clean that up a little bit. There we go. All right, that made a mess. Okay. So everything's going to be real light, as you notice here. So the main thing again is to remember not to use too much water or too much paint. You're going to wait until the final stages for that to intensify and give your sketch more detail. You probably notice that the paper might be warping a little bit, but that's normal. It will lay flat once the water dries. This watercolor paper is size, so it does do that, but it will lay flat once it dries. That's just normal. And if you're doing a watercolor painting, always use watercolor paper. Much better. I'm going to continue with this and cover all of this with a very light coat of watercolor paint. You'll notice that I've added more paint. I've also erased all the lines that I could that weren't covered with color. I'm going to continue painting this. Well, I made a mistake. I tried to bring the black down with some little black veins into the butterfly, but it just didn't work. So I had to use a paper towel to dab it all up, which left it kind of messy. So now I'm going to do exactly what I've told you not to do, is leave a puddle of water, let it do whatever shape it wants. I'm going to have to do the same thing on this side now that I didn't mess up, but I'm going to have to do the same thing. Oops. Okay. And just let it, let that puddle of water do whatever it's going to do, and just bring out some little veins like I did here, so it can look more or less the same. This is a little orange with black mixed in. That's why it looks a little darker. So I'm just going to let that happen. Just like that. Just trying to correct the mistake I made of bringing that black in to the yellow and orange butterfly wings. So maybe this will work. That's how I'm going to fix my mistake. And hopefully the puddles will dry okay there. I'm not going to mess with them anymore. Now that I'm getting to the last stages, I'm going to add puddles of water to these blocks just randomly, because I know they're not going to bleed into it. I'm just doing it in the middle, not in the edges. And I'm going to add some color and just let the color do whatever it wants to do to give these blocks a little more character. I don't know if that's going to help any, but it might. Do one more right here. Just added not a whole lot, but some more water. Puddles. The puddles that I kept telling you to pick up before. Let it have its own character there. The violet is so saturated that probably I need to pick some of this one up. It's just too much. I have to pick it up with a paper towel. I guess it's just a little too dark and too much. It'd probably work okay. Just to give these little tiles or little blocks here some extra pizzazz. Right in the middle. So I'll continue doing that. Okay, here's the final product. I put in some squiggly lines with the blue pencil and with the orange pencil. Why? I don't know. I just like squiggly lines. Of course, I signed it right here. And I made several mistakes, but you know, that's how it goes. I added a little shadow under the wing of the butterfly, and I painted that little white highlight I had there yellow, because I like yellow. Okay, these are some of the others that I had done as practice. Very clean. I like this one because it's not too crazy. The butterfly pops and everything is light behind it. So I think it's a little better. This one I like too, because I like sunflowers. Came out pretty nice. Light little background with showing. And this one was okay. It's okay. It's fun. Now this one I went to town on, and I probably did too much work, too much pencil, too much color. I wasn't too pleased with this, with the very first one I did. But like they say, practice makes perfect. I hope you enjoyed it.